Noah, how's it going, man?
Oh, good, dude. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for hopping on and doing this with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, why don't we just start with who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Noah Altoff, and I'm a remote producer and mixing engineer based out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, mostly for indie pop artists and alternative pop artists. Anything that kind
Awesome.
of smashes genres together that don't belong together and making it sound cool.
Sounds fun. Yeah, you got some cool tunes that you worked on as well. I can attest to that. Well, sweet. Well, hey man, why don't you explain, generally when people come to us at Dark Label, it's because something in the business isn't working how they want it to. What were things like before you came to Dark Label? Where were you where were some of the sticking points at in your business?
Yeah, sure. So I had gotten out of auto school maybe a year and a half before we started working together and was trying to build a business primarily in my local area, just in the Lancaster area. Had started taking some of my first clients and was getting really frustrated because first off, I didn't really know how to run a business, all of the technical ends of doing that well and keeping track of the communications and project management. But also I was frustrated because the projects were mostly with hobbyists and artists that weren't as invested in the music necessarily as I was, and I was looking for ways to continue to grow my client base to artists that I could charge a little bit of a higher rate to that were a little bit more serious about what they were doing. And I was interested in breaking into the online space and being able to do more remote work with people from all over the world, and was doing a lot of research about it, trying to understand how to do that better, and was getting really frustrated because I didn't really understand the marketing side of that and how to actually connect with the kind of artists that I wanted to work with and build those relationships online, and just how to sell myself to total strangers. Most of the work I had coming in was friends and family in one way or another. And when we had just started working together, I was kind of at this point, and I told you this on our first call, I was pretty much ready to give up in a lot of ways on building a full-time career in the music industry because I didn't understand enough aspects of that process, and I was feeling defeated in a lot of ways.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, you've been in our world for probably a year or more at this point, I believe.
Yeah,
Um,
about a year and a half.
Yeah. So what are things like now? Big changes or wins, or what are things looking like now in the business? Obviously, you didn't give up, so that's good.
Yeah. That's the primary win, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so many things have changed, man. The and that, that's a good one to start with, right? Is the confidence has been totally game changing. A lot of the work we did together at the beginning was mindset driven in a lot of ways, and how to actually think about approaching a business in a really healthy way that's good for you and that's good for your clients, and building out the systems of how to do that business well, and also how to do the outreach to be able to have meaningful connections with people. And it's been totally life changing because I've learned the process of how to do that well and how to build relationships online. My work coming in is a lot more consistent, and been able to actually build that completely online sustainable business, which has been really really exciting and freeing in a lot of ways.
Man. What about you got I believe your rates went up. I don't remember by how much, but
Yeah,
economics a little better.
probably by at least five or 5 or 10 times what they were. So that's
Damn.
been that's been pretty incredible too.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of people start out really, really inexpensively and realize the economics are not going to work that way. So the
Yeah,
other thing that's cool is that you had even though it was online, you had a band that you've been working with for a good part of this year, I believe. That's in Seattle, so total opposite coast. Actually, fly out to work with you in person over the past couple of weeks.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and that's been really incredible to be able to have those opportunities start to develop. And the reason that those things happen is because of all the skills that we've worked on developing together of how to build those connections online and
yeah. So even if
create
it's
those opportunities.
right, yeah. So just for people listening, even if it's things can start as a remote project, but end up being an in person one, which is kind of cool. I remember that with our production company, we'd have people, when we were in Los Angeles and in Nashville, fly out and just work in person. So it's kind of fun, mixes things up.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So why did you choose Dark Label uh, over other things out there specifically?
Sure. Well, I'd already been following your content on YouTube and the Music Pro Daily podcast and a few of these different resources for probably a good year before we actually ever connected in person. And I had a lot of friends that I'd met online that had all worked with you in the past. So there was a lot of referrals going on. And I had pretty much, when we had first gotten on a call, I pretty much digested every piece of free content you had. And just it seemed like a really good fit for what I was trying to accomplish. The business model was structured in a way it worked really well for developing something that was completely remote online, which was really what I was looking for. And so a lot of the pieces just fell together and it ended up being a really, really great fit.
Cool. Right on, man. So make content. That's the
Yeah,
moral of that story.
definitely.
Awesome. Well, hey man, last little question here. Any advice that you would give to a producer that was maybe stuck in the same situation that you were in, that isn't, just hired Dark Label, but some actual advice that something you found helped you, that you would tell someone that was in your shoes?
Yeah. Okay. So I probably have two things for that. The first one would be find some kind of mentor figure, whether that is hiring a business coach or that's just finding somebody who's local in your industry that's a little bit farther, that's where you want to get someday, and having them invest into you is just a really, really valuable thing to have. And then kind of the other side of that is finding other people that are kind of where you're at, that you can form a community or like a mastermind group around, and to hold each other accountable to the goals that you're setting and shoot ideas back and forth. That's something that's been really life changing for me, is um, just having that accountability and knowing that there are other people that you can bounce ideas off of and critique stuff that you're working on. And that community aspect is helpful in a lot of ways. And I think the other side of it is, as creatives, and all of us in the music industry are creatives in one way or another, whether we're producing or mixing or mastering or anything. We're not always the best at structure. And so finding ways to systematize the business aspects of what you do can make a really big difference. And whatever comes up, you have a system in place, a template, a plan of approach for whatever that may be. And it really helps you focus on doing the stuff you love, but also succeeding at all of the things that make that possible. And so building those systems and those structures and having a community that can hold you accountable to those things can make a really, really big difference.
Yeah. Great advice. And those things don't cost any money,
Yeah.
Find a group that you can talk with and look up systems and things. Yeah. I love that. Cool. Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. I'll let you get back to work.